Hello, welcome to StrangePlay. I'm Simon.
I'm Rik.
And today we're going to be talking about a game called Yomawari Midnight Shadows. It's available on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita.
It's on Steam as well, if you give a shit after this review.
What's it about?
Right, so you play as a little girl called Haru, and basically what happens is you're at a firework display with your best friend Yui, and you're like, you're moving the next day or something. And then after the fireworks display, you end up getting separated.
How did it get separated? Did it just get split up, or is there more to it than that?
Well, they're making their way through the woods on the way home, because they're on a mountaintop watching the firework display.
Right.
Because it's nighttime. They're making their way through the woods and it's dark, and everything's going a bit weird. Yui runs off to go and check to see what this noise was or something. And then Haru goes after her, and she isn't there, and then ghosts attack.
Okay, so it's a paranormal.
And then there's spooky ghosts and yokai. Yeah, it's a horror game, basically.
Yeah, it's a paranormal. It's just you can't explain it. They just get separated through like mystical means.
Ghosts and shit.
So, how does it play? What's the actual gameplay like?
Not great. It's kind of like walking sim survival horror.
Right.
Right? So you have to explore the town. So you've got the overworld of the town, and as you make your way around the town, your little map gets filled out, and then you're just looking for areas to where she might be. So you play as Haru, and you're like, you might be here. So then you go to a place, and then you've got like a level almost, like you'll go into a library, and then you get to explore the library.
Right.
But then she'll have like a vision or something of Yui being somewhere else. And then she's like, I need to get here. So then you've got to make your way to this other area and then explore that area. And it's just like a constant, like, carrot dangle.
Yeah, it's like you're being pushed forward through these like visions.
Yeah, but you're always just late. You're just too late to get there.
So when people say, it's a walking simulator, to me, usually I think people are divided on those. Personally, I quite like them. It depends on the world that they're based in, though.
Yeah, and this one's really frustrating. So you've got a torch, and there's just ghosts and yokai fucking everywhere. Right? So like ghosts and just like big monsters and spirits, angry spirits, basically. And you've got a torch, and when your torch is on, you can see them.
Right.
You have deterrents, I suppose. Like you can find pebbles. And sometimes, if you throw a pebble, some spirits will get distracted by it. Same with paper aeroplanes. You can get little firebugs and throw them on the floor, and then the spirits will go to them. But you can't kill the spirits because they're spirits, but you're a one-hit kill.
Oh.
And it doesn't matter if you just get grazed by something. You die.
It's really unforgiving.
Yeah, and you start again from the last checkpoint that you saved as. And they know it's a thing. Like, they know you're going to die a lot, because I think I got 3 separate trophies for dying certain amounts of times.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's a piss take how often you die.
Is it unavoidable as well, or is it just like, boom, fucking done, you're dead?
Boom, fucking done, you're dead. You've not got health or anything.
Holy shit.
So if you're walking along, and then something's like,
it jumps out at you, and it's unavoidable.
There's been so many times where I'm walking along, minding my own business, and then something will just jump out, and without a chance, I'm fucking dead.
That's really shitty game design.
And the worst part is when you're doing like boss encounters, because there is boss encounters. Sometimes you're just being chased. Sometimes you have to fulfill certain parameters in the arena.
Okay.
So there's a boss fight where you're against this yokai that's really annoying, because it's a recurring bad guy throughout the fucking game. And it's just this really manky-looking spirit with scissors that's chasing after you, and you're in a shrine, but you have to take the trash off the shrine floor to clean the symbol, and then the symbol kind of locks the spirit.
Okay, so it's like a puzzle element to finishing the bosses.
Yeah, basically. And by that, I mean, you just got to keep dying until you figure out what the pattern is.
Right.
And there's like cutscenes in it where you lose control of your character, but it's constant stop-start gameplay. So you'll be walking for a few paces, and then the game will just take control of you for a little bit.
I find that very frustrating. Like when
It's
it does
incredibly
that in
frustrating. But you know, in a lot of games where they'll do it, they'll drop a border down so you can see that you're.
Yeah, they put the cinematic bars on, so it's like, okay, you.
This doesn't. It just fucking takes control of your character. Doesn't tell you when you've got control of the character again. And there's times where, like in boss battles, you'll do a phase of a boss. The game will fucking take control of the character, won't tell you that you're in charge again, and then the boss will fucking one-hit kill you.
Yeah, it's design 101, and it just put the black bars or put some sort of notification on when it's taking control off you and giving it back to you.
And if you're not going to do that, make the fucking cutscene skippable. Please. There's been so many bosses where I've died numerous times, and like the last boss had me literally screaming at the TV earlier. Like I almost gave up with the game. I got to the last boss and I almost went, you know what, fuck it, I cannot be bothered with this, because
just become a trial to play.
Yeah, you got to walk. You've got a cutscene where she's talking to like the big monsters, talking to her, and then you got to do a thing. And then I died, and then I did it again and had to go through all the talking again. And then I died and had to go through all the talking again. And it's like...
It's gaming sins piled on top of one another, and it's bad checkpoint, and it's not letting you skip. It sounds like purgatory.
Yeah, like, it's not fun. It is not a fun game. Your characters move. They're just so sluggish, right? So you play as Haru for the bulk of it, but then when you're having the vision of Yui, you play as Yui for a couple of minutes, right?
Right.
They walk like they're walking through fucking treacle, and when they run, you've got a sprint button that you can use. Like it's R1. You hold down R1 to sprint when your stamina reduces, but your stamina reduces really quick, and they run at a normal walking speed that most games have. So you're literally dragging your feet everywhere, and when the spirits are coming after you, there's a heartbeat,
right?
Because you're scared. But because of that, your stamina reduces quicker, so it's harder to run away from spirits.
Right.
So they'll catch you and they'll kill you. And it's so fucking frustrating when you're trying to get through a bit. And if you've been playing it for a while and you haven't found a save point, and the save points are quite well spread out and they're quite fair, but if you're wandering around an area for a bit and then some little fucking thing just taps you, you're done. And then you've got to do it all again. Mm-hmm. And it's so annoying. And it's a shame because the story is fantastic. Like, I genuinely cared about the story and the way that it all comes together and the way that the mystery gets unraveled. It's brilliant. Like, it's a really engaging story. And by the end of it, I was like, wow, okay, that was awesome. I wish I was watching this in an anime.
It sounds like it's got a good story, like it's got an engaging story, but the actual means to playing it is such a drag that you'd rather it just be a book or like you said, like an anime.
Yeah, if it was a book, I'd love it. And the thing is as well, it's such a pretty game. Like, it's so nice to look at because everything's hand-drawn. The environments are hand-drawn, the characters are hand-drawn, all the spirits are hand-drawn, and like some of the bigger ones, they wouldn't be out of place in like a Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
Like they look like something that you'd see in Spirited Away. Like, do you know the big, more grotesque creatures in Ghibli films? They look like them. And it's brilliant. And like the music's nice when there's music, and the sound design in general is fucking irritating. So when I first started it, I was enjoying it. Because, you know, it looks nice, you got this weird story, this mystery to solve, and it was scary. It was genuinely scary. I started playing it in the day, and when you start playing it, it says, you know, make sure that the curtains are closed and the lights are off, and you've got your volume up, and don't take your eyes off the screen. Ooh. But because I was reviewing it, I started playing it when it downloaded. I played it for an hour, and went, nah, I'm going to turn this off and play it tonight when it's dark. Because it was just tense and jumpy and stuff. Because when, like I said earlier, when a spirit is near you, your heartbeat's going. And then you can hear them going, making their spirit noises. And it's like really tense, like because of all the sound. Mm-hmm. But then after a while, it just becomes an audio assault, and it becomes really irritating.
Yeah, like familiarity just breeds contempt for it. Sounds like
after a while, it just becomes too much. And because there's so many spirits everywhere, all you can hear is boom, 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 and it's like, I just want some fucking time to breathe. And it stops being scary, and it just becomes genuinely fucking annoying.
Yeah, it'd be like if you were playing Silent Hill and it was just static all the time on the radio.
Exactly.
It drops the suspense because it drops the suspense because you're always under threat.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. There's to be the threat of danger, but when it's there, it's omnipresent, it wears off, essentially. So you to have those downtimes in horror films or horror games, because otherwise you just get so familiar with it that it wears off.
Yeah,
you become immune to it.
Yeah, and it ruins the experience as well, because there's too much there, and then you add that to the fact that the scares do just come from jump scares, and then you've got the sluggish controls, you've got the defense techniques that don't really work. Like, you can hide in bushes and under boxes and stuff. That's cool when they're available to you, and then you've got to wait for the spirits to pass. Even then, you've still got the fucking heartbeat going,
right,
and the noises going, and just thinking about some of the enemies is just getting me angry. Like, there's these little black things with big white eyes and little red gloves, and they just sound like babies, and they just, when they're there, it's just really annoying.
I'm guessing they cry like babies as well.
They just sound like babies.
So, I mean, given that we've just give it a bit of a drubbing, who would you recommend this to, if you would recommend it at all?
Okay, so it's a follow-up to Yomawari Night Alone, which came out in 2015. So if people enjoyed that one, then pick this one up, because I'm guessing it's more of the same. And people who like stories, I guess, horror games.
That's a pretty broad net. Most people like stories.
Yeah, but, you know, it's not a gory game, especially. It's kind of cartoony. It's cute to look at. I don't know, walking sims, I guess. People, the visual novels, I suppose.
Right.
That's the I don't know who to recommend this to, other than people who played the first one, or people who want to try something different.
Because it's such a niche thing that's not particularly good at what it's doing.
Yeah, and like, the story is fantastic. As I keep saying, the story's fantastic and it looks beautiful. But you don't play games because they look nice, because a game needs to play well.
Yeah.
And the gameplay for this just irritated the shit out of me.
So, if you were to list the pros, if any, what would they be?
It's a beautiful looking game, and it's got a really deep, engaging story.
And the cons?
Oh, so many. Like, the constant stop-start gameplay does my head in. It feels like you're playing a game that's buffering, because it's just walk forward, oh, lost control, walk forward, lost control. The unskippable cutscenes, especially because of the one-hit kill mechanic, is frustrating, and it really makes like repeated boss encounters, you know, like when you just keep trying the same boss in the same area again and again and again, it makes them more frustrating than they should be.
Right.
Like, if they patched skippable cutscenes, I wouldn't have been half as angry with it as I am. The sound, like I was saying earlier, just gets too much. It's just like a barrage of noise at you, and it stops being scary and just starts really, really irritating.
Yeah, the cacophony thing would probably do my head in, if it's how you explain it.
Yeah, and like by the end of it, I was just playing it out of obligation.
Yeah.
You know, I had to review it, so I had to finish it. And as much as I was enjoying the story, if the gameplay isn't there, it's difficult.
It's hard to motivate yourself when, like, you've got so many obstructions in the way of what you want, and that's what this sounds like. So, would you recommend? Is it a buy, a rent, or a avoid, buying a sale? What would you recommend if people were going to pick it up?
If people enjoyed the first one, they might enjoy this one. If they want to try something different, maybe if it's on sale. But for me, this game just wasn't fun.